Hi, welcome to Center Bliss. My name is Marcella, and today we're going to be focusing on our downward facing dog pose. This pose is amazing. I love practicing this pose. It feels so good. You feel like you're getting an all over body stretch. This pose, it is known for strengthening your shoulders, strengthening your arms, strengthening your hands. It's a nice, good stretch to your calves, to your hamstrings, to the back of your body. You'll get a full back stretch. However, when practicing this pose, there's some things to be mindful of. And I would say that, there are some potentials for shoulder injury, wrist injury, neck injury. There's potentials to anything, right? Now, with that being said, I am not a doctor. I don't diagnose. In fact, if anybody comes to me and they say, I have pain somewhere, I'm the first to tell them, go to a doctor, and also to listen to your doctor's recommendations. Now, with that being said, I'm going to put up my disclaimer. We're now going to focus on how to do this pose correctly so we protect our hands, we protect our wrists, we protect our shoulders, we protect our neck, okay? So when you're ready, get your mat and meet me on the mat, okay? So let's get onto our mats. If you have a yoga blanket, you may want to get a blanket underneath your knees. I personally like a blanket underneath my knees to protect them. And we're going to begin, first of all, with, I'm just going to give you I'm going to show you some cues that you will hear in my classes that I'm teaching, and you may hear in other teachers' classes. So when I tell my people to press down on their thumb mound and their index mound, this is the area of the hand I'm talking about. This is the thumb mound right here, and this is the index mound right here. So when we're on the mat, you want to have your fingers spread wide, and you want to press those 2 points down into the mat, okay? And by doing so, you're going to create a really nice seal with your hand. And in doing so, this is going to protect your hand and protect your wrist. Now, another cue that I say in my classes is to round your outer armpits down towards the mat. So this is your outer armpits right here, okay? And when we're in the pose, you want to round them down towards the mat. You'll feel your bicep externally rotate out, okay? And you'll feel your shoulders spread apart, and they're going to feel nice and firm and secure and just snuggled into place. And we want to do that when we practice this pose, because that's going to then protect your shoulders, okay? The last thing you want to do is to let your shoulders move in towards your spine. So what that does is you're basically literally hanging your torso off of your shoulders. And that's not good. Your shoulders aren't meant to move that way. Your shoulders aren't meant to support that weight of your torso hanging off of them. Okay, so we don't want to do that. All right. So let's put all those things into play. All right. So we'll come to the mat, onto a tabletop position. Now you want your hands shoulder distance. Spread your fingers wide. Your knees will be hip distance. And I like to move my knees just a little bit out from underneath my pelvis. And then you're going to press your thumb mounds down into the mat, your index mound down into the mat. And when you're ready, you'll tuck your toes under, and you're going to lift your sits bones up towards the ceiling. Now, here's another thing to look at. Look at your wrist, okay? See how my arm is really nice and long, my wrist is really nice and long? That's what you want to achieve. What I tend to see a lot in class is this angle of the arm. Now, all that's going to do is just put undue pressure onto your wrist, okay? And again, that's not what we want to do when we're practicing this pose. So I always say to people, look at your wrist. If you see wrinkles, that means you need to move your chest towards your knees so you have a nice, long, smooth arm. Your arm should look like this when it's on the mat. Okay, so let's try that again, all right? So let's do that tabletop. Hands are shoulder distance. Knees are hip distance, and knees are going to move just a little bit out from underneath the pelvis. Press your thumb mound down into the mat. Press your index mound down into the mat. Create a seal with all of your palm. Tuck your toes under. When you're ready, take an inhale. And when you exhale, press into the balls of your feet. Lift your sits bones up towards the ceiling as you move your chest towards your knees. Okay, look at your arm. If your arm is there, move your chest towards your knees. Now, you can have your knees bent, and you can be just like this. This is downward facing dog still, okay? And then from here, maybe you start to pedal the feet or walk the dog. You'll hear this a lot in your yoga classes. And then once you've done that a little bit, you can straighten the legs a little bit by pushing your hamstrings back behind you. Keep a little micro bend to those knees so we have space within our knee joints. Now the heels of your feet, they don't have to be down onto the mat. They can be off the mat here. Now, move the chest towards those knees, outer armpits. We're going to rotate those outer arm parts down towards the mat here. You're going to feel your shoulders broaden. Your shoulders will feel strong. Now, engage the core, and that's going to help you to lift your sits bones even further up towards the ceiling. Now, let the head hang. You can shake the head no. Shake the head yes here. This feels amazing onto the neck. And then to come out of the pose, you'll bend the knees. And we've come back. Okay, I hope that felt good. It felt good to me. Full body stretch there. Now, I'm going to show you a variation or a modification, I should say. You can use your blocks within this pose. A lot of people like to use this, especially if they have wrist issues. I personally, when I did have wrist issues, I didn't find any benefit from it myself, but everyone is different, okay? Everyone's practice is different. Everyone's body is different. So you would do exactly the same thing, but you would place your hands onto the blocks like so, and exactly the same. Practicing that downward facing dog right here. So that's one variation or modification of how to practice this pose, okay? Now I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna show you some variations of downward facing dog that you can do. These are great preps to, if you can't do the downward facing dog here on the mat, they can get you, they can build your body up slowly into this pose, okay? So I'm gonna come to standing. And the first one is doing a half downward facing dog using the wall. It has all the same benefits. You're going to feel that nice, amazing stretch. And the cool thing is you can pretty much do this anywhere. Anywhere that you have a clear wall and you feel like you need a good back stretch, this is a great pose to do, okay? So you'll come to the wall, place your hands onto the wall, and again, your hands are shoulder distance. And you want to spread the fingers, press your thumb mound, index mound down into the mat. Remember, you're strengthening the hand here, you're strengthening the wrist here, so this is something that's good to do. And then you're going to start to step your feet back. So you come into this ankle. Look at the hands. You may need to move the hands down a little bit and making sure that they're still evenly placed. And just keep stepping yourself back. Now you want to keep your chin in towards your throat here, so the neck is just not hanging down. And we'll take a couple of breaths here. And then to come out of the pose, you'll just walk the feet forward, coming all the way back up. Okay. And another way to practice this pose would be to use a chair. And you can do exactly this, what I'm going to do on the chair. You can do this on a table or on a desk. So this is a great thing to practice if you just want to have a little yoga break in your office. So hands will come to the back of the chair. Again, they're shoulder distance. Now, imagine that you have floor underneath your hands. So spread those fingers wide. Press the thumb mound, index mound down into that imaginary floor. And then you'll start to walk those feet back as far back so you get that stretch. And then from here you can rotate move those outer armpits down towards the mat. Still engage the core here. Keep the chin in towards the throat. And your head's going to be right in line with your upper arms. It's not just hanging there. And then when you're ready to come out of it, just start to walk those feet all the way forward, coming out of the pose. Okay. All right. So I hope you found all of that useful. And please know that if you have any questions about practicing this pose, please feel free to reach out to me. You can leave a comment right here on this page, or you can get a hold of me on my Instagram account, which is Centered Bliss, or my Facebook page, which is Centered Bliss. I'd love to hear any of your comments, and I'd love to obviously help in any way that I can. So with that being said, have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful day. Bye.